Hey guys, what's going on? Back in with another video. It's going to be a quick COD Mobile video and maybe how it ties into Primis's return in the main game, I guess like Black Ops 6. Don't necessarily think it's going to be Black Ops Cold War because, as everybody knows, the dev said that there was no Zombie Chronicles 2 that was planned, and it takes roughly about like a couple months for just one map to be made, let alone a whole game's worth, maybe like what 6 maps or something like that, or 8 maps being made. And then people have also talked about a small Victus Zombie Chronicles, which that is already fake and debunked because Primis was written into the story as to be that they're going to sacrifice themselves for to save the Earth and stuff like that, or save the planet and the multiverse and all that stuff to be collapsed. So that we all know is also not going to happen. Again, it was written years ago that by fan fiction that again the mode, and I mentioned a couple times already, the mode is driven by fan theories and fan fiction, and we even saw it with Mauer Toten. Mauer Toten was just a bogus Reddit tweet that somebody made. Treyarch liked it and used it into the game and stuff like that. So this again is just kind of a theory, but it might actually have some truth to it. So on March 17th, there was a community update for COD Mobile, and they tweeted out a a blog, and in that blog it says that Undead Siege's future is they're gonna end Undead Siege. And if you guys don't know, and I probably should have included it in here, but maybe some people do know, Undead Siege followed Primis, Richtofen, not necessarily Takeo. I think Takeo was like hurt in the story, but Dempsey, Takeo, Nikolai, and Richtofen. It followed them in the Dark Ether. And originally, first it was in the Battle Royale map, then they moved it over to Blackout Battle Royale. And it basically was them stuck in the Dark Ether, I guess maybe dead. We never got a conclusion as far as like them getting out of the Dark Ether. Maybe they'll save that for later down the road, maybe a final cutscene showing them leaving the Dark Ether. Maybe not even now, maybe a couple years from now. Maybe they'll just put it in COD Mobile as a final conclusion of them getting out of the Dark Ether. Because that might lead to me thinking, or a good theory, that them leaving COD Mobile might mean that they're actually coming back in the main game. Maybe it would be too confusing to crossover both storylines. Maybe they're just going to start Primis with a new storyline. Maybe the Dark Ether era is going to be over, and they're going to bring Primis, maybe Primis and Ultimates back some way in the main game. So let me just read what they put. It said, we have so much exciting content planned for COD Mobile in the rest of 2022 and beyond, but one thing we haven't talked about much is Undead Siege mode. We've had a lot of questions about its future, and unfortunately we don't currently plan to create any more content for this mode. So that could be a good thing, and it could be a really bad thing. The good part is maybe they're want to end it and get rid of like again I said, the Primis story, because it's them. Basically, they died in Black Ops 4, and then when you're in the Dark Ether, it's supposed to symbolize like purgatory of sorts. And they were probably stuck in the Dark Ether, stuck in purgatory. Again, we never got a conclusion of them getting out. I think they did in one of the comics. I think they thought they got out, but maybe they were still stuck in the Dark Ether. That was a little bit confusing because they got out of the Dark Ether if you completed like the hardcore mode and you got like the cutscene, and then it showed them going to a new place, like maybe symbolizing them getting out of the Dark Ether. But then it said something about it looked familiar or not looking familiar, I forget. So that could mean that they have decided, Call of Duty, maybe Activision, have decided that, hey, we can't keep them in COD Mobile, so let's take them out and bring them back into the main game. So that again could mean that they're coming back somehow. I don't know the story as far as how they would necessarily get brought back into the main Black Ops game. I know that there's some truth, some hidden layers of Easter eggs and story and lore that Nero the Magician can resurrect people. I don't know if Nero, in hindsight now, is supposed to maybe mimic in a way or parallel Doctor Strange. I don't know if Doctor Strange can necessarily bring people back to life, but there are some now similarities after watching a couple Marvel movies and Spider-Man movies and stuff like that. That Nero and Doctor Strange almost seem very similar, but I know there is some truth, and I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to say what the source is, but um, in the source material, Nero the magician can bring back people to life. Not Nero himself, because obviously he was in one map and that's it. But if you know who Nero is based off of, that person that he's based off of can bring back people back to life. So I don't know if he's gonna meet them in the forest or the frozen forest and somehow bring them back to life. That's one thing they can do. Again, because they look like they're scrapping the whole undead siege mode, and again, maybe they're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna do round based or something different. But I know that it looks like it could be a possibility that Primis might be coming back because they're probably going to take them out of COD Mobile and bring them back into the main game. It says while it had a lot of initial participation and excitement, interest and engagement waned even after additional updates were released, which is a little bit. See, that's the thing that made me a little bit skeptical, is because it really didn't have too many updates. I think is it in Blackout now? I think they moved it over to Blackout. But aside from that, there wasn't too much updates at all. So that's where I think that maybe there's some like, um, you know, some deception going on. I'll put it that way. That it really didn't have too many updates. They had one event, like a Richtofen event. You can unlock like a Dark Ether Richtofen, and that was really the only event they ever had. They had like one battle pass or one like pass I guess that you can do, and you unlock rewards and stuff like that, and you ultimately would unlock Nikolai. But they didn't really update it at all, so that's what makes me a little bit like skeptical or interested that maybe something's going on a little bit deeper. It says, as with all game development teams, we regularly have to prioritize resources, which in this case we will reallocate elsewhere to create new content. So I don't think there's any Easter eggs in here at all. But aside from that, like I said, this is all kind of a theory. Because if you um, look at zombie, like I said, it's not going to be in Cold War because that's pretty much that story has ended. Um, I don't know if they're going to connect anything to Vanguard, but Vanguard has enough time right now to have a Zombie Chronicles. If they decide to do that, give some transit backstory, I think that would be the best thing to do. Maybe they can do like a prequel leading up to the events of Black Ops 4 and Cold War, or again, just say, hey, Richtofen's back as a director. Maybe he's gonna somehow try and go into another dimension and bring back, Primis. Maybe because in COD Mobile he builds a machine, and the machine lets people be able to get brought back to life or resurrected in a way. So maybe they'll follow the same thing where director Richtofen from Cold War can create or build a machine that can bring people back to life or bring them out of the dark ether, so to speak. Um, I mean, that could be one thing, even with Victus and stuff like that, that maybe Victus somehow can be brought back to life. But like I have always mentioned, it was a fan fiction that they used. I don't think in a way that they would want to kind of rewrite that story, because I don't know. Um, because even the idea of Primis and Ultimus being in Black Ops 4 was a fan fiction, because what happened with that is, and this is stuff that people probably should know, but they don't do their research. Black Ops 3 happened, and of course, with any zombies, people aren't happy with the answers or the end. So somebody said, hey, it could be, just them going back to the cycle, and I forget exactly what it was, but people did come up with ideas of Primis and Ultimus being back in in Black Ops 4, and they wrote that into Black Ops 4, and then at the same time, the whole Victus thing got written into Black Ops 4 from fan theories and fan fiction. So this again could mean that they're gonna pull them out. If they're gonna spend money on the voice actors, why not just put it in the main game and get more bang for your buck if nobody's playing on Dead Siege. So anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. Just something to think about. I'll see you guys later.